Artist celebration family. Come on in, man. Enough vibes right now. That's the thing, right? I just allow the family to come in. That's the far right. All right, family. Thanks, all courtesy. 77 redeemed 77. And we're just going to also, R over to Radio Anu at the same time. We're going to connect to Radio Anu as well. And remember, family, give thanks again for your presence as we glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Heart of celebration to each and every one. It is a celebration moment. Of course, we're celebrating the anniversary of the visitation of Emperor Haile Selassie I to Jamaica. How many years is it? I haven't even checked that. Let me see. 2016 is 50. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I'm counting on my hands here. So that I think that was 57 years, man. Yeah. Ooh, 57 years. So it's 7 years since that 50th anniversary when Prince Hermes came to Jamaica. Wow, 7 years gone already, man. Wow. But give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I. And as I said, this evening, we will be having a very special presentation on Radio Anu. Of course, we will be celebrating, as we are already celebrating, the 57th anniversary of the visit of Emperor Haile Selassie I to the Caribbean, specifically to the shores of Jamaica. And family, I don't know if you were picking this up. If you notice, this is basically all we have been speaking about for the last, 3 or so days. And we have been blending it in some very mystic ways. We're not negating the 21st of April's connection to Queen Elizabeth born day. We're not separating that from, her heirs and successors, or her heirs, supposedly heirs and hope successor coming through. That's Kate and William about 2 or so weeks ago. We're not separating that even from the position. Listen to me good, We're not separating that even from the position of the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. We're not separating that from the visit to Jamaica and Barbados by the Rwandan President Paul Kagame. We're not separating none of them things. And then in a few days, Prince Edward and his wife will be visiting Antigua. We're not separating none of these things because what? They're celebrating the Jubilee of Elizabeth, and they're celebrating her birthday as well. And it's all around the same anniversary and celebration of the monarch himself, Haile Selassie, in 1966. There's nothing really separate here. And then we're still aligning this with the Exodus in the book of Exodus. And we'll be highlighting that chapter 12 tonight when we gather in for the Tiger's Nest. Make sure you're in the Tiger's Nest. And enough things we're going to be getting into. Enough little things. I am very thankful for all the royal family, and heart of love to each and every one, and, let us continue to keep focused. Let's keep the love energy alive. Love is not that complicated. Love is not that complicated. Certain little different things that rise up in flesh tend to try to get in the way of love. Greed and ego and disobedience and conceitedness, all sort of weird things, bad-mindedness and all of these things. But, don't take the time to watch another person's fault. Let's check our own faults. Let's look in ourselves. Sometimes it doesn't take more than a night to just sit in silence and check yourself and say, well, I'm always judging him and judging her. What about myself? Do I talk too much? Do I talk too little bit? Do I stand up not enough, or am I too quick to answer, or am I not as considerate as I should be? Yeah, let's check ourselves, family. I think we all need a bit of that. We all need a bit of that. The eye beholds everything but itself. So let us do some internal looking into. What I'm going to do tonight, family, I just want to read for you before the Tiger's Nest, hoping that each and every one will be joining us in the Tiger's Nest. As I said, in a few days, I think it will be Monday. It was supposed to be tomorrow, the 22nd, but apparently the date has changed. But on Monday, I think that will be the 25th, the one of Queen Elizabeth's, I think is her youngest son, one Prince Edward, will be passing through here, Antigua. And there has been an open letter prepared. Not by an I. This open letter has been prepared by the Reparation Support Commission. Is that the right? Yes. The Reparation Support Commission right here in Antigua. And the head of this reparation committee is the Ambassador Dobrin Omar. Just pardon me, as I'm just making sure I have everything. So this letter here, it has already been made public, and this is why I'm in the position to read it. And it will be handed over without any problems whatsoever, I'm getting the impression, to the Prince Edward's and his wife when they come here. Now, I'm just going to read the letter for you so you could see what has been presented. And then afterwards, I will say what I have to say. We are live on YouTube, as they call it. Well, we live all the time, really, We always are live. I don't know if some people live sometimes. We always live, But as they use the term, we are live on YouTube now. So we will be observing the so-called chat and see what correspondence the people have for what we are about to read. And we will engage. An open letter to Prince Edward and the Countess of Wessex. Antiguans and Barbudans are a respectful people. And so we join with our Governor General, our Prime Minister, and government in welcoming you to our nation as representatives of our head of state, Queen of England, Elizabeth II. We ask for a return of similar respect. It has become common for members of the royal family and representatives of the government of Britain to come to this region and lament that slavery was an appalling atrocity, that it was abhorrent, that it should not have happened. We have heard such from your former Prime Minister, David Cameron, and most recently from your father, the Prince of Wales, and your nephew, Prince William. But such sentiments did not convey new knowledge to us. African people and their descendants, as most of us are, have known such since the middle of the 16th century. We have been on the receiving end of the barbarity. We hear the phony sanctimony of those who came before you that these crimes are a stain on your history. And he has that in inverted commas. For us, they are the source of genocide and of continuing deep international injury, injustice, and racism. We hope you will respect us by not repeating the mantra, we are not simpletons. We share with you some other things that we know. We present these issues in a non-confrontational manner. Our reparations ideology seeks to foster and facilitate reconciliation between Europe and the nations of our region. We know that the European slave trade, the enslavement of Africans, and the enslavement of Africans, the genocide of indigenous peoples of this region, and the deceptive indentureship imposed on Asians were not acts of nature. They did not fall from heaven like manna. They did not occur like hurricanes or earthquakes. They resulted from willful acts of white Europeans aimed solely at Africans. We know that the British Crown, both as royal family and as institution, is historically documented as an active participant in the large crimes against humanity of all time. We know that as early as 1558, John Hawkins used one of Queen Elizabeth's ship on one of his slave trading voyages and shared the profits with her. The future that she, and further, that she went on to exert crown control over trade with West Africa, including trades and in slaves by issuing letters patent for such voyages in 1561, 1585, 1588, and 1592. Just pardon me, like I just, you know how it is with the confuser, just getting everything uploaded as it comes up. All right, please forgive me. Just give me a second. Okay, here it is. Entry. Your family ancestors were owners and inventors in the Royal African Company, and investors, pardon me, in the Royal African Company and associated companies, the Royal Gambia Company and the Royal Adventurers Company. They set up and they were under Charles II and his cousin, King James II. We know that these companies, all dubbed royal, engage in the kidnap and transportation of hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans across the Atlantic Ocean to the Caribbean. We know that the Crown owned enslaved Africans as late as 1831, 3 years before the passage of the Emancipation Act. Those enslaved included our ancestors. We ask that you respect that. All right, just pardon me. I'm going for the second half of the letter here. Okay. And it continues, just getting it uploaded. Good. We also know that no one today in your family was alive when the crimes against humanity were committed. So please do not tell us that again either, as others before you have done. We know, however, that everyone in your family continues to live in the splendor, pomp, and wealth attained through the proceeds of the crimes. We alert you that throughout your visit to the region, you will hear the call of Caribbean people to the British Crown and government for reparations for slavery. We know that a former British Prime Minister has described these Caribbean nations as the slums of the empire. We know that our leaders, respectful as they are, will find ingenious ways to hide the physical shame of slum from your eyes. But we assure you that across our region, many still live in deep, persistent poverty and social despair. The call for reparations is not an academic exercise. It is a demand on Britain and the other enslaving countries of Europe for partnership in a constructive strategy to meet the social and economic development gaps in the region. Those imposed through slavery and colonialism, and those that are perpetuated through the incredibly unjust existing neo-colonial international order which Europe and the United States champions. Respectfully, we ask a few questions and we hope that you will provide answers during one of the addresses you are scheduled to make here or in any other nation in your Goodwill Don't Leave Us tour. Why is it so hard for you to sincerely apologize for your nation's role in slavery, like decent human beings do when they offend? That's a question. We know that acknowledging and accounting for the wrongs is deeply enshrined within both British law and society. Bamba. Then, why is it that you cannot apologize to your nation's documented historical wrong? Question again. Do you think, like members of your family before you seem to think, that we are a subhuman species and therefore not worthy of an apology? And that's another question. And respectfully, quite abruptly, it ends With utmost respect, Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Support Commission. And it has the information here. I'll read it out. P.O. Box 571, St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda. Email abreparations@gmail.com. That's abreparations@gmail.com. And yes, let me see. Okay, fair enough. So that family, for those who may have just come in, I've just read for you the letter. This letter was prepared by the Antigua and Barbuda Reparations Support Commission. And the head of this body is Ambassador Dobreen Omar. And it has been, you know how it is in the local level. It is, I wouldn't say rumor, but the word is that he personally penned it. I wouldn't doubt that at all, because even listening to the language, it sounds quite like him, the Mr. Dobreen Omar, who I've come to know and have a certain level of admiration for. So this letter again was set forth to the Prince Edward's and the Countess of Wessex, which is his wife. I think her name is Sophie. And there are a few things that really stand out. I personally like the straightforward approach of the letter. And I was honest when I said at the end, it abruptly ended in a certain way. You got to keep in mind, first of all, that with all due respect to the reparations fight, when we were listening to the professor last night there, the professor all night on the Tiger's Nest, you could just gone out my head. But anyway, the professor from Jamaica there. But anyway, he was showing that, listen, the whole reparation fight, which Rastafari has championed, this is what he said, and then has been taken up by the intellects of Jamaica and the Caribbean. And no disrespect to him, because I loved his presentation, but at the same time, you can see a clear separation made between Rastafari and the intellects. That's why they don't like Rastafari that appear too intellectual, Oh, man. Listen, you know how much time people done look at me and tell me that I too smart to be a Rastafari or to be Rasta. They're telling me so at least for 15 years now. You'd be surprised the type of people that tell me that. And I take that as an insult, by the way. As a big insult. That has jumped down some people's throat for telling me that. As they, how dare you? What kind of disrespect is that? And that's to show the kind of mind frame they have Rastafari in. That's why I was saying earlier. Everything Rastafari bring to the table, they want to take away. Okay? All what we have been persecuted for, ostracized for, hospitalized for, died for, all our gains. Look how they have marijuana today. They just take the ganja out of our hands and say, yeah, man, hold a plant or two. Go and smoke yourself. Have a good time. We'll make the money over here. If you want to borrow something, check us out. We can work it out. Or we could give you a job. But that's what it has become. Is it different where you are? That's what it has become. And some of us as Ras, we're not picking it up and seeing the power that is really within our hands. Yeah. It's the same thing with the reparation. The reparations fight came out of the halls of Rastafari. And reparation wasn't the first word. The first word was repatriation. It's freedom, redemption, and international repatriation. You see, we don't even understand how important that component is. That's to show you we don't have no more love for Africa. Even I and I as Ras, this whole Africa thing, even if you're in Africa, some of us, we glad to get away and we make it as if, oh, well, we make it and why y'all don't come? We totally forget the Exodus mentality. We forget that this is a kingdom move we're making here. We forget that we are building an empire or restructuring the empire that has already been built. So we understand the agenda of the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is beyond just reparation. In fact, he would have referred to it as compensation. And one thing I noticed is that he always speaks about the compensation and putting it in an African bank and the Bank of Ethiopia. And the main thing is the free waterway and the passage to return home. That is nowhere on the talk right now. Nobody talk about that. All the reparation talk. The professor was correct. The intellects, the so-called intellects, you know what make them intellects? How many degrees that they have. They can bring a whole buckle and show you and pile out their degrees for you. Intellect, the learned ones, doctors and lawyers, fighting for our reparation. Some of them politicians, party supporters. Them kind of people cannot really fight for your reparations. No, man. Reparation ain't no joking. What we call a reparation is deeper than what we're thinking about. We have reparation as a little plaything when compared to what we're asking reparations for, man. And this is why I always say, for example, we do the essay competition every year. And every time we do the essay competition, I always have to mention, listen, those of us who like to talk about reparation, one of the first steps of a reparation, as the word says, repair the nation. Reparation, repair, reparatory. Yes, it's good to to be calling on Kate and William and Harry and Elizabeth and these people here. But what are we calling on them for? One politician today was saying, we need scholarships. I mean, scholarships to go where? Scholarships to attend which university? And it's not even the university in Dar es Salaam. It's not even a university in Zimbabwe. It's not even the university in Kenya or in Uganda. All these places have university, Some of us didn't even know that. No, like something about Africa, there can't be no university in Africa. But you see, the world is set in a certain position that when you graduated from Harvard, when you graduate from Yale, even just to say I went to the University of Massachusetts, somehow that is supposed to ring a better bell than if you said I got this, PhD from the University of Kampala. No, somehow it doesn't hit a chord. Why? Because we've been cultured to think like that. So we want scholarships to go where? Universities are made to train you to be a better servant for the slave master. That's what a university does. I'm not saying you cannot go through it and come out the better. But for you to do that, you got to be real conscious before you even go there. You got to be well prepped before you even walk between Doric and Corinth, Boaz and Jachin. You got to be well schooled and debriefed properly when you come out of there, just to stay alive mentally, because the university will wreck you. Them colleges and universities were designed to make you a better slave. I don't care how much degrees and letters you come out with. It was designed to make you a better servant. Now, if again you went through it and you came out the better, good for you. But it wasn't designed for you to come there and leave there to go liberate your people. I know that for sure. In fact, they would watch you good to see if you try any slick move with their accreditation. You see, so to have a bunch of university graduates and degreed Negroes standing up for reparation, I'm talking about across the board. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. I don't mean to sound insulting, but the point is, Rastafari. Them people, although they mention it every now and again, remember, I know some of them personally. They're not check for Rastafari. All the nice speech and all the pretty sounds and the big words, they ain't checking for no Rastafari. I'm not asking you. But as far as this letter goes, I must say that some of the punchlines that the brothers at the Reparation Support Commission put into it, I totally accept it. Let me just run through a few things quickly. As he says here, it has become common for members of the royal family and representatives of the government of Britain to come to this region and lament that slavery was an appalling atrocity, that it was abhorrent, that it should not have happened. Hear what he says here. We have heard such from your former Prime Minister David Cameron, and most recently from your father, the Prince of Wales, and your nephew, Prince William. But such sentiments did not convey new knowledge to us. African people and their descendants, as most of us are, have known such since the middle of the 16th century. We have been on the receiving end of the barbarity. We hear the phony sanctimony, I like that. We hear the phony sanctimony of those who came before you, that these crimes are a stain on our history. For us, they are the source of genocide and of continuing deep international injury, injustice, and racism. We hope you will respect us by not repeating the mantra, we are not simpletons. I like that. I like how, the letter forcefully shows that, listen, don't be coming here mocking us. I don't come in a little fake talk as your people always do. I respect that. And we know that the European slave trade, the enslavement of Africans, the genocide of indigenous people of this region, and the deceptive indentureship imposed on the Asians were not acts of nature. They did not fall from heaven like manna. They did not occur like hurricanes and earthquakes. They resulted from willful acts of white European aimed solely at Africans. We know that the British Crown, both as royal family and as institution, is historically documented as an active participant in the largest crime against humanity of all time. Hear this one here. We know as early as 1558, John Hawkins used one of Queen Elizabeth's ships on one of his slave trading voyages and shared the profits with her. That's the fella great-great-grandmommy there. And further, that she went on to exert crown control over trade with West Africa. And he goes on to speak about the voyages of 1561, 1585, 88, and 92. You understand? And we know that during the 17th century, your family ancestors were owners and investors in the Royal African Company and associated companies, the Royal Gambia Company and the Royal Adventurers Company, set up under Charles II and his cousin, the King James II. Yeah, we know that these companies, all dubbed royal, engaged in the kidnap and transportation of hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans across the Caribbean. Just kind of skipping through some of it, even at the moment here. The Tiger's Nest is, we got to go to the Tiger's Nest in a few moments here. All right. And a few, listen to this part here. I somewhat, I like this because you see, they've been fixing up the roads. They've been making the highways beautiful. You drive around here the last couple of days, everywhere you go, something going on, making the thing pretty. Not everywhere, but the path that the royal family will take. We alert you that throughout your visits to the region, you will hear the call of Caribbean people to the British Crown and government for reparations for slavery. We know that a former British Prime Minister has described these Caribbean nations as the slum of the empire. We know that your leaders, pardon me, we know that our leaders, respectfully as they are, will find ingenious ways. You hear this now? Will find ingenious ways to hide the physical shame of slum from your eyes. But we assure you that across the region, many still live in deep, persistent poverty and social despair. The call for reparations is not an academic exercise. It is a demand to Britain and the other enslaving countries of Europe for partnership in the constructive strategy to meet the social and economic development gaps in the region. And it goes on and on and on as the time is on us. But as I said, I like his forcefulness. I like how he comes out of the door punching. But the reparation call has been watered down, man. Talk about giving up a continent for an island. You know, and as I said, that's the reason why we do the essay competition every year again, because education is the main part of reparation. Because if the people are not edified, if the caterpillar don't understand that he's a caterpillar and not a worm, I wonder if you know that story there. When he hears of reparation, he's not going to have too much interest in that. And even if he has some sort of academical interest, he's not going to be fully conscious. He still want to be a little bourgeois, a kind of conscious kind of fella that put on his dashiki every February. But to say that he's looking at rebuilding the empire of the caterpillar or rebuilding the empire of the butterfly in butterfly land, that's a pipe dream to him. He's not even fighting for that anymore. So there's no more repatriation. There's no more free the seabed and open the seabed and international movements of people. It's no more declaration of human rights. It's just reparation. When the man referred to it as repatriation with compensation. I like this one. Adela Peters. Reparation would make Europe and England broke. Oh, family, listen, let me just run through these quickly. I definitely got to go to the Tiger's Nest. I know some, hey, remember, you know, listen, the Tiger's Nest tonight is going to be heavy. I'm just ready to go into the whole science of really what is taking place, you know, even on a day like today, which is the 21st day of April. Even tonight is really just kind of prepping you for the Tiger's Nest, you know. But remember, if you're not going to be with us tonight and you think you're going to miss the program, just contact us. Email priestIsaacInstitute@gmail.com. priestIsaacInstitute@gmail.com. Of course, the link is in the description below. The link is coming up in the chat. You know what I mean? Just contact us and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to be listening to the Tiger's Nest tonight, but I would like to hear that lecture on the 21st of April and how it links to Exodus and the Passover and everything. Is going to be deep. You know what I mean? And we'll definitely hook you up so you not only get the Tiger's Nest tonight, but you get the Tiger's Nest continually in the future. So even if you miss the program, the Tiger's Nest, you will definitely get it every day in your inbox, every day via the email. And as I said, once you subscribe to the Tiger's Nest before the 24th day of Sunday, I purposely said that, before the 24th day of April, which is really Sunday specifically, not only will you get the Tiger's Nest from here going forward, but we will make sure we furnish you with at least 2 to 3 strongs worth of previous Tiger's Nest. Like this whole strong that was gone, the programs that we did leading up to tonight, you'll definitely get those previous strong and even a few programs from the length, you know, just to make, but that's if you subscribe to the Tiger's Nest before Sunday, you know, before the end of Sunday, which is the 24th. And even if our past son, they still contact us, man. We can work out something. We think going on here is just love, It's just love and joy. Remember, Radio Anu was set up so we could express. I definitely express myself better on Radio Anu, and than these platforms here, the Facebook and the other stuff, YouTube and these different things. So definitely, I'm looking forward to the family coming over to Radio Anu right now. Just press the link in the description below and let us go over and get into the reasoning for tonight. But before I go, let me just see who we have here and give thanks for Guyana Ital Veg. He says here they can't repay any. No, let me see. They can't repay any as reparation for nothing. Don't want nothing from them. Choose creator. Don't sell out again. They can't repair through reparation. Don't cost the sacrifices made and lives taken. Okay, I think I get the message here. And Annan says, Haile Selassie Rastafari, Honorable Haile Selassie gives his emissary, a message to the diaspora. Abuna Yeshak, reparation claims on the banner of Ethiopian Orthodox. Oh, that was a question. Sorry, I didn't read it like a question, really, but that's how it goes. Adela Peter says, you can have degrees and still have no sense. Okay, I think that was from some earlier comment. And Guyana Ital Veg really cooking here. Definitely cooking some. And of course, so give thanks, Royal Family. Ashia Fire is saying, yes, greetings. Love the show today. We have to watch our government close. Tell me about it. They're planning to keep the reparations. All of that. You see, it's a whole heap of things here. And this is why we give thanks to King Emmanuel. There's a whole heap of things that the whole reparation thing, obviously, it's obvious that it will not go down the way that it should go down. Let's put it that way. It will not. I hear a heap of sirens out there one day, someplace burning down. It will not go down the way that it's supposed to go down. You really think government to government reparations and all of that, and Rastafari and the behind side, you think anything really going down without King Emmanuel agenda at the forefront? When they give you a couple billions and you go and buy a few Lamborghinis and say, well, we already took care of the Negroes. Family life given the keep of life. As I said, check the link in the description below. Those of you who are listening on Radio Anu, just give me like about 2, 3, 4, give me about 5 minutes, and we'll definitely be starting with the Tiger's Nest this evening. So give thanks, family. Life given the keep of life, love and majesty. Join us now in Radio Anu for the Tiger's Nest this evening. Holy Emmanuel Selassie, Jah Rastafari. Give thanks for all the love. That's a good point. In some cases, they want you to prove that you're a descendant of so-called enslaved people. Yes, family, let's go to Radio Hanuman. Yeah, Hanuman. Yeah, that's the monkey god. Blessed love.